Welcome, everybody to the Love Experience Show. I am your host, Ashley J, and I am so glad you guys are here. Another great episode of the Love Experience Show. Let's see. Don't forget to purchase your Love Experience show merchandise on itsashleyj's.com or not with the S, it's ashleyj.com. Okay. All right. And get your shirt. I've been posting one of the Love Experience show shirts all week. You should have came across it. If you didn't, go ahead to my website and get your shirt, okay? And let's see what else. If you would like to be part of the Love Experience Show, as in being a guest, come in to talk to me, chat with me, please feel free to DM me and let me know what you want to talk about, and let's schedule you for a Thursday because you know the show stays on Thursday at 8 p.m. So today we are talking about Renovated Love, and I am excited because I finally get to meet with my girl Jessica McNeil. We had a day scheduled before. We had a day scheduled a couple times and we had to reschedule for different reasons. So she is finally here, y'all. We're going to have another great conversation. And let's see, anything else? Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook so that you can see when the show comes on. And let's get it, y'all. Jessica, are you there?
Yes. Hello, hello.
Hey, Jess. Welcome to the Love Experience Show. I'm
I'm
glad
excited.
you're
Thank you for
here.
having me.
Awesome. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to see if it's streaming on Facebook. Oh yeah, I see it. Okay. So go ahead and tell the people who you are.
All right, good people. I am Jessica McNeil of J McNeil Light. I am a Christian content creator, teacher, and many other things. You can follow me on J McNeil Light, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I orchestrate topic based Christian conversations to have some real talk, testimony, and release the truth of God's word through those different arenas. And so you can just get in contact or stay connected in any one of those places to find out more about what I have going, as well as I'm an author. So you can also just go to Amazon or actually on jmcneillight.com and purchase any of the books that I've authored thus far. So that is who I am. That is who I be.
And how many books do you have out there? Let the
I
people know.
have three published right now, many, many, many in the works, but y'all just hold your horses. I'm gonna get there.
Jessica, I met Jessica also on Clubhouse, through Jasmine, who was she was on the third. No, what day was that? The seventh? I can't remember. I'm sorry, y'all. She was the one that kicked off the new season.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all met on Clubhouse, and we connected and formed this relationship, this bond. And I'm very glad that we have this bond together. And I'm glad that Jessica agreed to do the show with me.
For sure.
She checked it out herself and she really enjoyed the show. So she was like, yeah, I'll come on.
Of course.
So again, y'all, welcome to the Love Experience Show. Listen, y'all go ahead. I told y'all in the post about the show to bring 5 people with you. Okay, everybody needs to bring 5 people with you into the show. So go ahead and share the show, like the episode, and subscribe to the Love Experience Show on YouTube. Okay. All right. So,
Uh-oh.
hey, Mom. Hey, Jasmine. Welcome you guys to the new episode. And as always, keep the comments and the questions coming in. You guys know we like to have an interactive audience, and Keep your questions coming in, keep commenting, and we like to read the comments at the end of each episode. After we had the whole interview, we go through the comments. So get your comments in there and ready for us to review them. Jess, you good?
I think my camera froze. Hold on, let me get you together.
Okay,
All right. Boom. There we go.
there you go. Okay, so tonight we are talking about, I titled this episode Renovated Love, based off of the form that you filled out. So talk to us about Renovated Love.
All right. So this whole thing about renovated love um is really from the learning process of love myself personally. Hello, Jasmine. I see you commenting. So I'm gonna try to engage both ways. So renovated love. Most of the time you think of renovation, you think it's something that has already been there and you have to make some changes, right? And so with
Mm,
renovated love, it is the process and the story of how I saw relationships, what I thought about relationships, what I had to learn about relationships, all kind of mixed in there together. So it kind of started as a kid. You know, we see our parents and their relationships, and most of the time we model after what we see.
mhm,
Mine was particularly different because as kids, we never saw parents argue. Like I can't even name one argument or disagreement that I ever remember my parents having. And so that put me in the mindset of, oh, this is just peaches and cream. This is easy. Like there's no arguments. A lot of it probably had something to do with my dad was military, so he was here and there and a little bit of everywhere. He wasn't always home, but when he
okay.
was home, all things were good. Until I got to about third grade, and my parents got divorced, and we were like, "Wait, what? What's going on? What happened? There's never been an issue here." And so that right there just threw all of us for a loop because we did not have an understanding of what's the reason for the separation. So that right there, that just took that whole mindset of everything is good. There are no arguments. This is what marriage is. Everybody gets along. Everybody likes everything. And that's it.
Mhm.
And so that part had to be renovated. When that divorce came through and wrecked, like burst that whole bubble, like, no, that's not what it is. And so that was like one stage one of renovating. And so from there, my dad really wasn't around a lot. My mom didn't do a whole lot of dating. She did get remarried a little later on. I think about our middle school time. And so seeing that relationship, it was a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of arguing. It was a lot of I'm leaving, I'm back, I'm leaving, I'm back. It was just
Mhm.
a lot going on. They got married, they got divorced, they got remarried. It was just a lot.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, so now this is what I'm saying. I like, okay, this is completely opposite of what I thought. Like, okay, maybe this is normal because people can't possibly always get along. People can't possibly always want to get along and be around each other, right? So sometimes there's gonna be times where you just gotta deuces and I'll be back. And so still the wrong way, right?
Mhm.
And so seeing all of these examples, then around the age of middle school, I got into being allowed to listen to R&B. Before that, we was not allowed to listen to anything except Christian music. Like, so I was in complete and total shock coming into middle school, hormones and music, right? So all of
Listen,
these
that was my household too. I had to
Kelly,
sneak to listen to R&B. Okay, all right, go ahead.
look, we was hearing it at school, at games, at people's houses. We like, what is this? What kind of music is this? But it
Yep.
gave all of these instances, especially when we saw music videos for the first time, it gave us all these images of relationships.
Yes.
And at the time of us being in middle school, there were a lot of groups. There was a lot of "You're My Secret" and all of these types of
Mhm.
songs going on. And so they're portraying these images. Okay, well, if you talk to somebody, but you could talk to somebody else, as
Mhm.
long as nobody don't know. And then you got all of these like love triangles and all this madness in
Mhm.
these love songs teaching a way. And then that was what I thought. So I'm like, okay, there was one set of things that I saw, set of things that I thought. So by the time I got into high school, because middle school relationships, they don't really count for too much. You see each other, you pass a note here or there. High
Mhm.
school got into play, and the relationships were completely different. So I'm trying to juggle all of these things that I've seen, the perfect, the crazy, and then the culture. And so all of these things mixing together, me not really knowing because I don't have an example before me. being divorced was a generational curse in the family. My grandmother, my parents, my all of my aunts, I think, have been divorced at least once. So it was just perpetual. So seeing a healthy relationship was not something that I saw. And
Mm-hmm.
so taking all of those things and trying to navigate first relationships in middle school and all of these things from music, I'm thinking, okay, well, you got to be with the person first. And so having sex before marriage, that came into play, which was not a thing that needed to be done. And so I can say that because, hey, it happened. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and just from there, trying to navigate feelings and emotions, not understanding the soul ties that come in when you give yourself away. And then in relationships, seeing, okay, well, a lot of these songs are talking about, well, I give you what you need. And then they got this portrayal that you get what you want because you gave what the other person needed. And so going through relationships, constantly trying to give what was requested, whether it was my time or my attention or my body, whatever it was, doing all of these things, trying to make it work, and it never worked. So I'm like, okay, so something in this mix is not the right story. Something in this mix is giving me the wrong answer. And so constantly trying to figure out the delicate balance of what do you give, because we know love is give and take. It's not
Mm-hmm.
always one person getting something.
Mm-hmm.
And so really trying to navigate and figure all of that out um in the midst of so many things going on. And it went so wrong. So from that first encounter with a sexual relationship as a teen, and then making the decision, okay, so I'm not doing that. Like I'm turning my life around. I'm a follow after Christ. I'm not going this route. And started dating somebody in high school, and I'm like, okay, so no, I'm not about that life. That's not what I'm doing. I'm making good decisions, and then this person is with somebody that's close to me, and I'm just like, what? Like, okay, so now I'm confused because I'm trying to do the right thing, and we're constantly seeing each other. You picking me up, taking me home, you come over, hang out, have dinner, but then you're with somebody that's close to me. Like, what just happened? What?
Okay.
I'm not understanding what's going on.
Okay. So time out real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So first question,
Yeah.
can you explain to us um where how do I want to ask this? How did you feel when you were going through, what you seen from at home, then seeing at school, seeing in video? How did you go through all of that? And when you attempted to have a relationship?
So I kind of try to pull the things that seem to work.
Okay.
So with my parents, what I would see, like my mom would always cook or she would always just be giving. So if I was in a relationship, well, oh, okay, well then I can give you food. I can bring you food. Like I learned to cook young because I heard the statement, the quickest way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Okay,
Mhm.
got that on lock. I can
Mhm.
cook. And so trying to navigate that realm. But in the relationships with all the arguing, the fussing, if I got into any type of altercation in a relationship, whether I was mistreated or called out of my name, I felt like that was normal. And so
Okay.
I would be accepting of that, thinking, okay, well, this can't be that bad because I already seen this and they were still together, right? So
Mhm.
taking those parts and like just really trying to figure out what I was okay with and what I wasn't okay with, um, to go between those. The things with music, um, really, it was just a whole lot of music. Really, just trying trying to live life through song and through music videos does not work, especially on the you can't see the person all the time. Um,
Right.
all the long phone conversations and really with the love songs, it really puts you into the whole pour out your heart. Like, let me put all my cards on the table. This is all of my feelings for you. And we know when you put
Mhm.
everything on the table, that's like, yeah, I'm not feeling all that. A lot of times you don't get that,
Mhm.
especially with young people, because young boys are not feeling commitment at all. This is not their thing. And
There's some
so
grown men not either.
that's true. There's some grown ones that ain't either. So true. But in the midst of navigating all of that, I really lost what I actually needed trying to figure out what everybody else needed.
Gotcha.
And so that really left me in a place where I was trying to figure out what exactly love was. And that's where I kind of leaned into the learning more of love. And that came when I made the decision to change my relationship with God, because we know God is love. And so as I began to grow in my faith walk, that helped me to see what love actually was supposed to be like, so I can better decipher and work through all of the madness that I had already learned. So from all
Mhm.
of those things that I had built up, okay, I'm gonna take this and add these little pieces and build up my little love wall of what I think it should be. I really had to go back and measure it up against what God said his love should be like and what he is and his nature is, and really start to tear down and take out those parts that he never intended for me to encounter, the parts he never intended for me to have to deal with in the first place. But because that's what I saw prominently before me, that's what I lived out. And so
Mhm.
even into being married later on, there was a lot of stuff I still had to unlearn because it wasn't the right thing. And both of us, my husband and myself, because we did not have the best examples of love and healthy marriage or relationship before us. And so everything that we saw before us, everything people tried to teach us, because everybody got to add their 2 cents in when people get married. um, and let you know what
Yeah.
it's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
And especially considering we got married young. I was 19 when I got married. He was 22. And
Okay.
so everybody was just like having all this advice of what being married should be like, what it's gonna be like, do this, don't do this. And it was just like none of this stuff y'all talking about. Like, bruh, how long have y'all been married? How many times? What are you trying to tell us? And really just having to get rid of all the voices and really lean into each other for sure.
Mhm.
And lean into God and what his standards are. Which y'all, God's standards is high. That is not an easy feat. Like First Corinthians 13 hurts feelings, wrecks a
Yes,
lot.
it does. It does. It does.
And to try to live that out is really hard, but every day is a process of learning and growing towards that whole renovating and love. And I don't think honestly that there's an end to the process of renovating love, because as we grow in relationship with anybody, whether it's like an intimate relationship with a spouse or a significant other or siblings or other family members, we all change. And so as we're changing, the way we display the love may change, the way we receive
Mhm.
the love may change. And so renovating love, I don't think there's an end to the process, but we just grow with each other and kind of learn how to maneuver through it as we're going through
Mhm. I, for one thing that I always think about and sometimes share is it's easy to fall in love with somebody, but the test comes when you got to stay in love. That's where the work comes in. I have had plenty of times when, you know, um, I was in love with Tariq, and I'll tell y'all a little secret. I was ready to get married way before he was. He
it.
knew he
Same.
wanted to marry me, but he was like, "There's steps we gotta take before
Before
getting there," and I was like, "Bruh, we are. You know, I want to marry you, so like, let's go do it now." But I'm glad that he had the level head and not me,
Yeah,
because it would have been a different situation. But I say that because I think about what if we did rush into it like I wanted to.
yeah,
Love probably would have looked a little bit different than what
yeah,
it does now. And we may not have lasted as long as we have. Like, that's just straight up. We've had times where we were, tired of each other. I've said there's been times we said we wanted to get a divorce. Like, all of that happened.
yeah,
But one thing is for sure, keeping God in the center of the marriage is very, very essential. And keep working at love. God is, even if you want to give up on love and it's somebody that God destined for you, he ain't going to let you give up. He's going to make you work.
yeah.
It's going to happen. You're going to work for it.
And marriage is worth the work. I mean, people make that commentary, the grass is greener on the other side. No, the grass is greener where you actually do the work at. Like, cut your
Mhm.
grass, fertilize your grass, do what you got to do to take care of it. And even what you were saying about the falling in love and falling out of love, Alicia Keys got us with that one, right? Did she? Um,
Yeah, yeah,
but when we get to that point, and I think you can fall in love, but then you can choose to continue to love, and that's the part a lot of people aren't choosing to. And
yeah.
it definitely is a choice because you can be honest. Like most married people will tell you if they being honest. Some days you don't like each other. Like we'll literally tell each other, "I don't like you today," and so
Yes.
I still love you, but I don't like you right now. Because we
Yes.
get on each other's nerve. The person that's close to you knows your buttons to push the best. And so it happens. And it's the truth of our relationship. There's no relationship. I told y'all that little bubble got burst quick. Any relationship that seems perfect, no arguments or disagreements, something ain't quite right.
And let me tell you, let me add this real quick. As a couples therapist,
Right?
if you're not arguing with with each other, something is not clicking. There's no communication happening in that marriage, in that relationship, because nobody's marriage, I don't care how long you've been together, you may learn how to communicate effectively over the years, but nobody has the perfect marriage.
No.
Barack and Michelle, I'm sure behind closed doors,
They
they
already
getting
love
it
them.
in. Okay. So I just need y'all to understand that.
Tell the truth and shame the devil. Okay. We're not gonna have these lies floating around. So it was really important to add God at the early age because by the time I got married, which look, I was 16 when I decided to get my life right with God. So 16 and
Okay.
19 ain't that long of a span of time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it was necessary when I did. When we first met, matter of fact, I saw him and he was like asking for my phone number. And I was like, so I'm gonna see you Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for Bible study, or you can lose my number. And shockingly, he showed up.
Okay.
Now, from what he told me, he was high, but he came. But he came though. He was like, his high was blown too quick. I was like, because Holy Spirit and that don't go together.
Right.
But he came. And so that showed me, okay, well, maybe he might be all right then. And so
Hmm.
I think we dated for a year and a half and then we got married after that. And this year will be 17 years married. Like,
Look at that.
look, the Lord, okay?
Yes.
Look.
Amen.
All the advice of what to do and what not to do, half of those to do, not to do marriages ended in a divorce. And so just, and that's not to throw shade, but I'm just saying,
Hmm.
God
Hmm.
has to be the one directing and guiding the relationship in order for it to continue. Because when I tell you, when you're not feeling each other and you don't like each other, he's gonna have you do something like break the ice, like literally.
Yes.
You getting on each other's nerves and you walk away with an attitude. Now go do this. I don't want
Yes.
to do that. I think, and matter of fact, I thought it was funny because earlier, I think it was early today or yesterday, I got upset about something, and I think it was this morning actually, and I was about to start talking trash, and I walked out of the room, and I was gonna close the door, and I slammed my finger in the door, and I got downstairs, and the Lord was like, "So you gonna point fingers? I bet you won't point that one." Like, you right? What? He was like, "What happened to love? Don't keep records of wrong." You right?
Yep.
Don't want to be hearing it, but the Lord will check us when we
Yes,
get
he
out of line
will.
with the love thing. So having him as the center is really, and Holy Spirit the guide, because Holy Spirit, man, that's a whole nother one. Like tap you on your shoulder, like, excuse you, get yourself together.
Yes.
And really help us to really align with what God intends in that love. And it's a sacrificial thing. So it keeps us from being selfish, even when we want to be selfish. Because if we be honest, we get those moments, but it really gives us everything that we need to do and it's a process. That's what I love about having God in the midst, because He's not like, so all of this part of you that ain't gonna work, trash that, and let's start over. He like literally works on us a little bit at a time. And that's kind of how renovations work. Like when it's a renovation, they don't tear the whole house down. They just work on a little part at a time that you want to make the changes to. And once one space is done, then you move on to the next. And with the
Mhm.
whole renovated love thing, that's what God does with us. He deals with different parts of our heart, of our past, of our thought processes at a time, and slowly works us into what his ideal of love is. So,
That's true. That's true. One second, guys. I put it in the chat, but I'm gonna tell y'all now. Go ahead, get your questions and your comments in. Y'all a little too quiet. I need y'all. You know how I like it. I need y'all to talk to us while we having this conversation because you're part of the
oh,
conversation too. Okay. All right.
I see y'all
So,
over the chat. Y'all saying hello, 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 everybody.
huh?
I
Oh
see them over
yes,
there.
everybody's
Hello,
saying
hello,
hi.
hello.
Hey y'all. I'm sorry.
Hey, now go ahead and put your questions. We say hey back.
Okay. So, I'm glad that you said that because it is you do get worked on a little bit at a time. And even to your point about having an attitude or being mad, whatever the case may have been, for me, many times, I would be ready to tear into Tariq. And then the Lord will literally shut me right up. Don't say that. Close your mouth. And I'm like, but he just said all of that. Close your mouth. Don't say it. Why I don't
Right?
need you to say anything right now. And I'll have like a whole attitude
You
because
be
I can't
ready.
say nothing. And then he'll be like, now go apologize. I ain't even start
Right?
this.
Every
So
time.
I'm glad to hear that I am not the only one that goes through that.
You not. I'll get a whole shut it up. I but and really one of my our married couple friends, they made a point one day and it was like, would you like to be right or would you like to be married?
Yeah,
That's a hard decision to make sometimes because
it is.
when you know you right. I've
It
had these
is.
conversations with God, like, God, you know I'm right though. He was like, you might be right, but you need to be quiet. You
Yeah.
right.
Yep. That's about the size of it.
I get checked like that from the Lord. He don't play with me.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But that's the great thing that he is so gracious to correct us and not condemn us.
Mhm.
In the process because you know how you see those buildings and they just look at it and it really could have potential, but instead they just put the little condemned sign. This one is good to be torn down, like just wreck it. But God is like that opposite. He can still see the beauty and the potential in things when we don't even sometimes see it. So you mentioned sometimes having divorce on the table. I have put divorce on the table a couple of times. I have left twice
Okay.
because I'm like, I can't. This ain't for me. I can't do this. And the Lord's like, no. And he will like bring back all of these memories. Well, what about this? Well, what about that? And what about this time that I forgave you? And what about that time? Like he gives us those times to really see what actually is the potential in the relationship. And that helps us to have our eyes open to the fact that, hey, this if maybe if we just work on this right here, maybe if we just change this a little bit there, like it gives us
Mhm.
the opportunity through his grace and then for us to show the grace because he freely gave it to us. So we should freely be giving it to one another as well.
Yeah.
So just those opportunities, having God as the middle gives us the new set of eyes and perspective to see the beauty in the wreck, what seemingly is a wreck at the moment in relationships.
That's true. That is true. Cause he does like looking at God. I was listening, so I'm a be I'm gonna be on this show with a bunch of guys. I believe I'm supposed to go on Monday.
Mm,
And they're going through a devotional called Loving Your Wife Well.
okay.
And I'm coming on to give the wife perspective. And I worked with a couple of the guys before in the past. So they thought of me. Okay. And watching the episode this morning, um it was amazing to me to see how guys think and how much they do want to be right with their wife, how much they really do want to be in good graces with their wife, serving her well. Like that touched my heart. And I'm not saying that it touched my heart because I'm not getting in that. but I'm
Right.
saying it was just good to hear guys saying it,
Yeah.
and men, a group of men that are using the word to learn. And I'm saying all of this because I forgot what my original point was. But
You nobody know.
I, I truly enjoy it. Really blessed me watching it, and just getting a perspective of just men who do get convicted by God about the things that they do for their wives. Like straight up the first um day of that devotional, the man was saying, "Yeah, I thought I was loving my wife. I would love her perfectly, but I found out that I can't, and I don't." And he goes through all of these steps that he learned to love his wife perfectly, and they're divulging on that and how they're applying that to their marriages. And look at, that's what it was, looking at their wives through the eyes of God.
Mm,
That's what it was. They were talking about how they were looking at their wives through the eyes of God, because all of the men on the show, they're married. So they want, there's a couple that's seasoned and a couple that's new, newlyweds. But just make that transition, looking at their wives through the eyes of God, or us looking at our husbands through the
mm,
eyes of God, just that simple tweak changes everything.
yeah.
You become less accusatory,
Yeah.
and stop counting wrongs and all of that, and just look at them through the eyes of grace and
Yeah.
forgiveness. That was, that was touching to see that, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm in same time, let's go.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. I love that, and those points that you made are so very valid, and it's something that we have to intentionally put at the forefront of our mind. Am I loving God's son well? Am I loving God's daughter well? Like that part of it. Like, because it's
Mhm.
not just your spouse, but we belong to God. And so making sure that we're wise stewards of everything God gave us, including our relationship, is really important. I had to really even check myself today. Look, I can be transparent. I get checked on a daily. Okay, we live in
Mhm.
this flesh. Our flesh has to get checked daily. And so
Mhm.
I just been having a whole moment trying to figure out hormones, try to reschedule life. It's just been a whole lot of stuff that I've been trying to figure out. And my husband has his own set of stuff that he's handling, extra workload, which is good. It's not a problem. But in me trying to not add to what he already had, I was dealing with stuff and my attitude was changing. And he made a comment like, "What's going on with you? Because something ain't right." But
Mhm.
I didn't communicate like, "Hey, I'm trying to figure out life. Like, it's a lot of changes going on right now, and I can't figure it all out." But God reminded me, like, because I got an attitude. When you trying to say, "Why you trying to say I got an attitude?" I ain't got no attitude. It's like it's something. No, it ain't. And God is like just sitting there, like, for real. You just gonna act like you got it together. And really, I had to pause, and I was like, you know what? Let me get myself together. And the Lord's like, yeah, you need to talk to him. And so I was actually at the store with my girls at the time, and he was like, tell him. And I was just like, thank you for being patient with me through navigating through all of these changes, through hormonal changes, physical changes, life changes. And I'm like, I didn't really say anything because you got a lot going on, and I don't want to add to what you already have going on. But it's a lot right now. And I'm trying to figure it out. And he was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, okay, Lord, that was like a humility check right there, but that's just what I'm trying to say. Like, okay, just keeping that open communication because I can't expect him to know. And no matter how long we've been together or how much we know about each other, we're changing. And if you don't let
Mhm.
the other person know, that's that renovated love. They might have
Yep.
knew certain things at a certain time. There was triggers at a certain period of time. Now some stuff you can do it all day. It's not gonna bother me because I'm over it. But
Yeah.
there's some new stuff that's like, what you doing?
Mhm.
I always do that. I
Mhm.
don't like that now. Like,
Mhm.
stop. So just learning to keep those open lines of communication or shifting the way that we communicate. I know so at points that I would just like have a whole kind of shutdown moment because if I get mad, I can go in with my words. I might not cuss, but I will chop you up with some words. And I got to a point where it's like, nope, I ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing because one is going to make a bigger problem. But then learning, like, okay, Lord, some of these situations I actually need to say something. So how do I say something without like being the most? And it's like, write it down, or I'll send a text and be like, that's all right. Because if we need to have some space so we don't blow up in each other's face, well, I can text you what I need to say. We'll be sitting in two different places, like just going. And then we later we just laughing and we can sit down and watch a movie or talk or whatever because it comes across differently. You don't get somebody yelling or arguing when you texting. You might get a little tone in the text, but it comes
Yeah.
across differently than raised voices. And so just figuring out like, hey, that works better for us to be yelling back and forth, trying to figure out things sometimes because you get emotional when you're trying to make a point sometimes and you get loud. And
Yeah.
that's not the way that God would want us to handle it. As people call it, intense fellowship. He wants us to handle it differently. And so, in order for us to do that, that's that renovated love. You got to figure out what's working for now, what's going to
Right.
work in the season and the time that you're in a relationship. So,
Right. That's good. Incense fellowship. Okay. That's good. um yeah, I have done that. Texting my thoughts. And I'm like, I maybe sometimes it's something I already said, and then I text it, and he like, "Why are you saying this again?" Because I feel like sometimes maybe if you read it, you get it
get it
differently. It might
differently.
hit you different.
Yeah, just a little bit, just a little bit.
But sometimes, I mean, there have been times where we text, but we can't get anywhere
Yeah,
because um the the confusion will
yeah,
come in. I'll just say confusion comes in.
yeah,
So there's times where we will text back and forth, not, don't get anywhere, and it ends up with when he was leaving home to go to work, it ended up with him saying, "I'll just talk to you when I get home," and I'll be
yeah.
like, "I don't want to talk to you when you get home. Why can't we fix this now?"
Right.
But yeah, texting and writing is a good tool. I actually came up with something. I created, this is my first time sharing this live,
Okay.
I think. So I created this marriage survival kit
Okay.
that I gave to one newlywed couple. That was my wedding present to them. One of the things in the survival kit is a journal. Excuse me. And the journal is for all of the things you can't say.
Mm,
Write it down and share it with each other.
yeah.
And I really feel like it makes a difference. I actually gave a journal to another couple, but I didn't create the marriage survival kit yet.
Yeah. Right.
But it makes a difference because there are some conversations that are difficult to have,
Yeah.
but you feel better when you write them down for whatever reason. And it can be understood better when it's written down.
Yeah.
So that I said that to say, like, I created this kit, and in that kit, that's what goes in there. There's a
One
bunch
of
of cute little
those.
things in that kit too.
Okay.
Um, Eventually, one day, there will be my books in that kit, but for right now, I gift the 5 love languages
Okay.
in that kit. So
Nice. We're gonna be
yes,
looking for that on itsashleyj.com. I'm just saying. Um,
we get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
it'll be there one day. You gotta keep looking and stay connected so you know when to find it. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's a really good one to do and to keep up with. As far as like writing and getting your information out, and even too, like we were talking about the whole texting thing. I've done where I started writing the text and I read it back and like, no, I don't need to say that.
Hmm.
So it's good
Yes.
when you write it down, it gives you a chance to review your words before you release your word. Because once they're out
Yes.
there, you can't get it back.
Yep.
And if you say something wrong or it comes across wrong, that feeling, we can say what we mean. And I think, I don't remember who said it, but it's three parts of the conversation. It's what you said, it's what they heard, and it's what you meant. It's
Mhm.
like, it
Mhm.
might not always come across the way you intended it when you say it, and you can't control that feeling that comes behind it. So, writing it down, I think, is an amazing way to really navigate your words, because you got to slow down and process it while you're doing it. So I love that you have added that to your love kit, your marriage survival kit. I love that.
Yes. Okay, so guys,
Wake up.
I'm gonna say it one more time. One more time. I see some of the comments coming in, y'all, but listen, let's get some questions and comments because we're coming up to where we like to stop and read everything. So y'all go ahead and get them in now. I want to see these comments and questions coming in quick, okay? Um, and if you missed the beginning of the show, this is Jessica McNeil. Okay. And she's shared that she's many things. Christian content creator. She's also an author and she has 3 books, right? 3 books already live on her website. Go hit put your can you put your website in the chat? Just
Absolutely.
go hit up her website and get a book. Okay. Just like Jasmine had a book, y'all go to Jasmine, put your link to your book in the chat too. Y'all go ahead and support these ladies, okay? And then when Ashley J drops her book, y'all better support.
Y'all better make sure you got it.
But no, for real though, I want y'all to, get these comments and questions in. Okay. So thank you, Jessica. This has been a great conversation.
I'm so
Um,
glad we got to have it. I know we've been stalled so many times, but
we
the
have.
conversation is so necessary, when we get into these types of things, because so many of us really need, some guidance and information, and we don't always have open resources. So I'm glad that, you offer all of the things that you offer as a relationship and date coach, because it's really important to the growth and building of relationships. So I love that.
Thank you. And something else that I want to add, when you're married,
Yeah, I see it.
and I believe even being married for a long, long time, communication does not get easier because you're still 2 different people.
Yeah.
You still have things that hit you a different way. Um, and sometimes when you are trying to hit below the belt, you know just what to say in order to make the communication a little more difficult. I'll say
Right.
it like that.
Good.
But what I want you to know is you will learn how to communicate better with one another. It still won't be easy. Listen, I do this all day. I help people communicate all day, and I got the tools, but it still is not easy, even for me. Okay. I would be lying to you to let you know, right, that me and Tariq have the best communication. No, that is a lie. Communication is difficult, but you had, just like I said, you got to work at love. You got to work at communicating effectively.
Wow.
And if you don't have the tools, you can get the tools. If you don't know anybody, I'm right here. Send me an email, DM me, whatever you need to do. I will hook you up with some communication tools because it's so vital. It is so
So
important for you
so
to know how to communicate. And even if you aren't married, go ahead and communicate
learn.
to me that you need tools to communicate, okay? You have to, like, that's one of the foundational tools for marriage. Communication. You got to have it. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So I guess let's see. Let's read some of these comments. All right. I don't know. Okay, let's do something. Whoever is still on
I,
watching the show, I want y'all to say, I'm here. Go ahead and comment, I'm here in the comments. Let's go. All
and
right.
I see one question, and it's perfectly timed, Miss Ida Walker Joyce. Yep, she's here. Okay, so she asked the question, and it actually goes with what you were just talking about, communicating well. She asked, "What are my books about?" So, two of my books are about exactly what Ashley was just talking about: words. um, the first and third book go together, and the first one is "Before You Speak: Understanding the Power of Words," and the third one is "Watch Your Mouth," which are both things that we have to constantly do. And so the first book gives the preface of Proverbs chapter 18, verse 20 through 21. We can bring life or we can kill with our words. And even in our relationships, most definitely relationships, we can speak things and we will see the manifestation of whatever we speak. If we saying somebody always get on our nerves, you best believe they gonna always get on your nerves until we start to change the things that we're saying. And so it comes from the natural standpoint with a lot of testimony, but it comes with a biblical standpoint of the authority that God has given us within our words. So being careful before we say something to really gauge our words with wisdom so we can see what we want to have manifested, but we got to speak it so we'll be able to see it. And then Watch Your Mouth is a 10-week devotional and guided journal. So it kind of works through that entire process of first dealing with you, because a lot of times we like to talk about what somebody else is doing. We can notice somebody's issues, right? The Bible says you can point out the speck in your brother's eye without talking about the mote that's in yours. And
Yeah.
so in the Watch Your Mouth devotional, it goes through those 10 weeks. So first you got to evaluate and work on you. What is it in you that's causing the issue? What is it that you dealt with that makes you fire off or go off at the handle real quick, clap back? What is it that you've encountered dealing with those things? And then what results do you actually want to see, and what goals can you set to get to what you want to see so you can get those changes in your language and get those changes in your life. So those two are that, and then the other one has nothing to do with words at all. It's just the basics of starting a brand and or a business or ministry. It's called Grace for the Win, and it is 5 basic steps of preparing yourself: the who, what, when, where, why, how of when you're setting up your brand, business, or ministry. So yes, that is what those books are about. But them word ones, and like Ashley said, when you think that because well, I could tell you about words and I could tell you what to do that I got it on lock. No. Can I tell you how many times God is like, "What did you write in that book?" I don't want to hear that. What did you say? Yes, I
Mhm.
know. Fix your mouth. Be quiet. Uh,
Mhm.
and so we get checked with the very thing that we can teach you and tell you about. We are very much so held accountable to the very same thing. So for sure.
What where did you put the link for your book? Your books?
Uh,
Are you able
it
to type them in the chat on
is.
Restream?
No, it's not letting me type anything on there.
Okay. Um,
Let me see if I can do it on the YouTube.
can you access the private chat? And I could put the link in
Yes,
the
I can do
chat.
that. I
All right, we're
can.
going to get y'all the link right now.
Yes.
But yeah, cause okay, so everything that you said and what you're talking about, your books are about, it just reminds me of what is that Proverbs, the power of life and death. I
Yeah,
mean,
Proverbs
life and death
18.
are in the power of the tongue. Wait,
Hmm.
should I say that right?
It says death first,
What is
but
that?
yeah,
Proverbs, the
Proverbs
power of
18.
life and death. I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Yeah,
life
Proverbs
and death
18.
are in the power of the tongue.
Right.
Wait, should I say that right?
It says death first.
Is
Oh,
that such a
I was
fault?
like, why do I hear repeat? It started playing on YouTube. Okay, though. I was like,
You like, yeah, uh-huh.
what? Okay, then. This is us in real life, folks.
It's all good. It's all good. Okay, let's get to some of these other comments. Thank you, everyone that is still here. You know what's funny? I did not see I'm here from Leslie Montgomery. Ain't
Was she
that
here?
something? She all checked. She checked out. It's okay.
Don't do her like that.
It's okay. Okay. Um, so hey Colleen, and let's see.
Hey, Jasmine.
Yes, Jazz. All right. Thank you, Ida. I love that idea. We did that. Okay, Colleen said like Family Feud. Y'all are good.
Yeah, good
Great.
answer.
Good answer. Good answer. I can't.
I love it.
Oh, see, Ida said, "Amen." She got 28 years in the game and still struggling.
Don't do that.
Oh,
You
okay. Hey,
making it though.
Leslie.
You the engine that could. Don't hang it up. You good.
Um, let's see. She said that your books sound amazing, and she's going to check them out. Jasmine, if you're still here, go ahead and put your books in the chat so people can go
Yeah.
check you out too. Yeah, so I got some family members who have been married for years. Both of my mom's sis, two of my mom's sisters
Mhm.
have been married to their high school sweethearts for years. I
Uh-huh.
got one Aunt Linda. Are you still here? Is it 40 years yet with you and Uncle David? And then Ida is my other aunt, and
Okay.
her and my uncle been married for 28 years. So
Yeah.
they I think
Okay.
okay. Um okay, sorry. All right. Sorry y'all. I was reading the message. I think they 48 years. I'm way off. They've been together for 48 years.
Okay, good.
Like they they have set the example. Um I can't say that divorce, as far as coming from my great grandparents, I can't say that that was a generational curse. But y'all correct me if I'm wrong. So is Leslie. You're not by yourself, okay?
Mhm.
Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Is Would you say that your parents, my grandparents, kind of set the precedent for divorce? Hey Sonia,
Hey, Sonya.
y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Have my grandparents set the precedents for divorce? Because I could just say from my experience,
Yeah.
just from my parents, my husband and I, Tariq and I, we decided that when we got together, that divorce, even though even though we said divorce a
You could
few
say it.
times,
Yeah.
we said divorce was not an option for us
Right.
because we both come from parents who were divorced,
Right.
and we wanted our children to see something different.
Yeah.
And that is what, we that's the lane we've been on. Like we've been on, like, okay, we said we was going to give up, but no, we can't.
Right.
We can't give up. So okay, Colleen, is that for you or for my grandparents? Because I'm asking y'all for your input about my grandparents, but ain't nobody saying
She said,
nothing.
"Girl."
I know my grandfather was married a few times. Okay, well, we're
Yeah.
moving on since nobody is saying anything. Okay,
Right.
so I enjoyed this conversation with you, Jess, and I'm glad that we got to link up. Hey, y'all, everybody that's listening, come on. If you want to be on the Love Experience show, let
Yes.
me know. Okay, let me know, because I have two slots open for the month of March. March is almost out. I need two more people
Still
or
with
couples to to join for this month. I need somebody, like, come on, I done hit y'all up last week. I need y'all to tell me
Yeah.
somebody
Let me see
to
if I
reach
can talk
out
Jeff this
to.
week. Is she
Okay. So
okay?
mama said if she was in y'all's generation, she would leave.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
That
That
is
brings a
a
whole new
whole nother
element to the
topic.
situation.
It does.
That's
It does.
interesting. Okay.
You done
So the
started.
comment says my grandmother said if she was in our generation, she would leave. Um, but they weren't divorced. Yeah, I know that they stayed together till she died in the 90s. I think it was the 90s. Yeah, till she died in the 90s. So, yeah. It's okay. I know she was asleep. She doing something. I don't know what's happening with her.
Don't do her. No,
But
honestly, that's an interesting statement though.
it is. It really is.
And
It really is.
my mom actually said, because my parents got divorced when I was third grade, she said she would have stayed had she known the effect that it would have had on my sisters and I. And so just considering that, I was like, huh, that's
1994.
interesting.
Yeah.
So both of those statements kind of bring a lot to the table to discuss.
It does. Yeah. Because like I deal with that side of it,
Mhm.
staying because of the children, not wanting the children to be affected by it. But then I like to bring up the question,
Yes.
so do you think you're doing your children some good with them seeing you going back and forth
Not the
arguing and telling each other
relationship.
off, or
Mhm.
seeing that there's something going on underneath the surface? Y'all
Yeah.
may not be showing us, but we know something is up because kids
Oh,
are very intuitive
yeah.
and they pick up on things. So yeah, that's what I like to say to people who say,
Very,
well, we're
very
gonna stay
interesting.
together for the kids.
Mhm. And I
I love
actually,
that.
this is like the end of the conversation, so I'm gonna say it. Then I said, I actually found out about all the madness as an adult, like in the last 3 years of the stuff that happened when I was a kid, and I'm like, what? How
Wow.
did we miss all of that? It was so much. I was like, what? We had to be like really loving our life as children to miss the
All
amount of
that.
crazy that went on. But some people can cover it up real good. We see that with celebrities. But
Yeah. But after a while, that veil is gonna come
yeah,
down.
mm,
And yeah,
yep.
that's interesting. I didn't know mama said that.
Wow.
So Jasmine said both of these are crazy and dysfunctional. And
That's my
clearly
favorite.
you can see it. I don't care how long y'all been married. Show is amazing, and I will be checking out those books. I
Thank
have
you. I
to go.
appreciate
Thanks
that.
so much, guys. Thank
Yes,
you,
thank you
Ida,
so
for
much.
joining us.
I
Thank
had
you,
a
thank
great
you,
time.
thank you.
A
I'm
lot of
glad you
laughs and
did.
insight. I'm glad I got to share. So
All
I'm
right,
gonna
y'all. Go
I'm gonna talk
ahead.
my counterpoint into a episode. I got ignored when I asked the first time, so I took that as a no.
What,
One of
me?
these days. No, no,
Oh, okay.
my husband,
Okay,
not
okay,
you.
okay. I'm like, wait, what did I miss?
No. But I'm gonna throw
All right.
Sonya out there since she on here. What
Come
episode?
on, Saya. Let's
Sonya.
go. Let's go.
Got
Um,
some love
but thank you
experience.
guys so much. Thank you for joining us tonight. It was another great episode, and I'm so glad you all started to. She said, "I'm sorry, what?" I'm glad that you all decided to interact with me after asking the third time. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Ah,
But no, seriously, I love you
yeah.
guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hi, my baby. Hi, Marquise. Um, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, The Love Experience Show. Like and share this episode with everybody you know. And next week, again, bring 5 people. I want each one of you on here to bring 5 people to the show. Go ahead and blast everybody up in your text messages and tell them to get on to the show immediately. And hopefully, we'll have a guest. Um, on the show next week. If not, y'all will see this beautiful face dropping some gems. Okay.
Cause she got
Anything you want to say in closing, Jessica?
um really take all of these key points. And if y'all like to binge watch shows, when I first saw the Love Experience, I just kept watching the next episode and the next episode. I'm just saying, so y'all might as well go ahead and catch up, get all the information that she's dropping in these shows for sure, because it has a lot from the different experiences and perspectives. And I would definitely tell y'all, communication seems like the one of the biggest things we talked about today. That's key for relationships on all sides. So definitely get your weight up in the communication area. Put that effort and intentionality in there. And thank you, Ashley, for the opportunity to come on here and share all my extra and my renovated love stories and love experiences. I appreciate it.
Thank you for blessing us today. And y'all, you know there's only one thing left to say. What is your love experience? I'll chat with y'all next week. Love you guys.